Hello dear student, welcome back in the second part of Indigo written by FISCHER. After watching the first part of this video, I don't think that any of you will ask that what is Indigo? Who was Mahatma Gandhi? What was the incident that happened in 1917? Why Mahatma Gandhi wanted and to urge the departure of Britishers from this country? Right? And who was Rajkumar Shukla? Why he wanted to meet Mr. Gandhi? Why Mr. Gandhi said that I don't know and I am so much busy and such a date I'll be there in Calcutta, you meet me there. Why Mahatma Gandhi gave his consent to come Champaran? Here is Champaran. It's in Bihar. Why Mahatma Gandhi wanted to meet Rajendra Prasad? Why Rajendra Prasad's servant took him another peasant? Right? Because Rajkumar Shukla तो पहले ये गरीब किसान थे, and he usually pestered his master. Means Dr. Rajendra Prasad को अक्सर वो pestered करते थे. What was the reason? That's up to you because I have explained everything in the previous video. Why did Rajkumar Shukla and Mahatma Gandhi move forward to collect more information and to impart more information about the miseries and the plights of the peasants that was going there in the district of Champaran? What is sharecropping system and what is the agreement they took upon it, and what is the impact of synthetic indigo that German has learned to make it, and why the people at that time feel scared of helping the person who talk about the liberty, talk about the home rule, right? And why Mahatma Gandhi met with the lawyers? Why Mahatma Gandhi charged them for representing their cases in the court who charge fees? Why Mahatma Gandhi said that you should make these peasants free from the fear? That will be the real relief to them. Why he received the order from authority? Why he disobeyed? Why he said that you cannot order me in my country? This is my country. I am not outsider. And why he received the summons to appear in the court? Although before this he has received one notice from that. वहां से एक notice और मिला था कहीं से, where officials said that you cannot go ahead, leave the place. Why that happened? Q. And what the Mahatma Gandhi said here? You cannot order me in my country. Okay, I'm not outsider. And why the people of this area collected and come together in the courthouse? Why? Authority were backward, and why they couldn't give judgment against the Gandhi? Hearing that Mahatma Gandhi is in danger, the champion is in danger, the large number of peasants come to here in the courthouse. Authority were backward and they seek the help of Mahatma Gandhi to regulate the crowd, and he helped them to regulate the crowd, and they said that we will give you bail for 2 hours. But here Mahatma Gandhi said that I want bail, but without any condition. And after some time, a couple of days later, he received a notice and a kind of letter that your case has dropped. Mahatma Gandhi's continuous effort, why they established the commission? Okay, why he was the only representative of the peasant, and other side why all the Britishers were there, and they said that we cannot refund all the money that we have extorted from the farmers. Although they have surrendered themselves, yes, ठीक है, we have extorted, उगाया है, लाया है, किसी भी तरीके से हमने इनसे पैसा इटा हुआ है, but we cannot refund the whole money. Mahatma Gandhi said that all right, no problem, you refund the only 50%, but they said no, we cannot refund that 50%, but we can refund only 25%. And Mahatma Gandhi took their word and said that all right. बात करता? Here Mahatma Gandhi said that, actually why did he say so? That refund of 25% or 25% of that refund is not important. जितना इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि उन्हें अपना सम्मान भी सरेंडर करना पड़ा, बिकॉज बिफोर दिस दे थॉट देमसेल्फ अबव, भगवान से भी ऊपर, कानून से भी ऊपर, एंड दैट वे दे वॉन दिस बैटल, एंड दैट वे वो इंडियंस की दिमाग में, दिलों में उतर गए. Why? After this incident, lawyers were ready to follow him even to the jail. After winning that battle, why Mahatma Gandhi said to the lawyer's friend that you should not seek any prop in Andrew? Just because he's Englishman, you think that if we take his help, that we will win this battle of inequality? Not possible. It shows the weakness of your mind. You should not seek any prop and any एक तरह का उसमें कोई लूप होल नहीं देखनी चाहिए कि हम इसकी सहायता से हम अपनी बैटल जीत जाएंगे. You should rely on yourself. If you want to win the battle, you should rely on yourself. And there is nothing in this world which cannot be made possible. Right? If you make your mind, so nothing is impossible. And not only that, but also he makes some social, cultural improvement in the district of Champaran, because the conditions of villages was not so good. So for this purpose, he invited and he called some his friend and his follower and educationists, doctors, and even his son and wife as well. In this way, Gandhiji taught them the lesson of self-reliance. And now here, there are some short questions which will help you a lot. Stay with me till the end of this video.
There are some very important short questions from the lesson. Like the first one is here, when and how did Gandhi decided to urge the departure of the British from India? Answer of this question you can find in the first paragraph, right, in the lesson. And it was in 1917. 1917 की बात है. Right, the Gandhi had gone to the December 1916 annual convention of the Indian National Congress Party in Lucknow. There, a poor, lean and thin, emaciated peasant came up to Gandhi, and he was from Champaran district of Bihar, and he urged Gandhi to visit his district. Later, when Gandhi went to Champaran, he came to know of the poor plight of the sharecroppers. There, it became clear to Gandhi that the British must quit India. Who was Rajkumar Shukla? Yes, Rajkumar Shukla was a poor, lean and thin peasant who came from Champaran district. Right? So, why Rajkumar Shukla described as resolute? The Rajkumar Shukla had come to the Congress session to complain about the injustice of the landlord system in the Bihar and to take Gandhiji to Champaran. Someone advised him to speak to Gandhi about this matter, and he met Gandhiji, and who could not give any appointment at that time. But Shukla went wherever Gandhiji went. So Gandhiji was so much impressed with his tenacity, then he agreed to go there. And that's why he is called here and described as resolute. Why did you think the servants at Rajendra Prasad's house thought Gandhiji to be another peasant? See, the Gandhiji came there along with Rajkumar Shukla, who was a peasant and a farmer, had been coming to Rajendra Prasad in connection with peasant cases in courts. Other peasants might have come along with Shukla on these occasions. So the servant thought him Gandhi to be another peasant, especially because of his simple living style and, the attire and cloth he used to put on. What made Gandhiji to accede to the wish of Rajkumar Shukla to go to Champaran? Accede to him means क्यों स्वीकार किया उसने? Rajkumar Shukla met Gandhiji at Lucknow convention of the Congress in 1917. He told Gandhiji about the injustice being done to the poor peasant by the English landlords. Gandhiji had many other engagement in those days, but Rajkumar Shukla persisted. He accompanied Gandhiji wherever he went. So Gandhi asked him that you meet me there in Calcutta, such and such a date. So Shukla was there and he waited till Gandhiji was free. In this way, Shukla's tenacity and resoluteness impressed Gandhi and he acceded to his wish. What was the contract and the agreement between the sharecroppers and the British landlords? This is really very interesting question, right? Most of the arable land in Champaran was divided into large estate owned by the Britishers and worked by Indian tenants and the peasants. The main commercial crop was indigo, and tenants were compelled to plant 3/20th or 15% of their holding with indigo harvest. They were bound by long-term contract and they were required to surrender the entire crop as rent to the landlords. The peasant had no freedom of their own. The agreement was thus exploitative in nature. Right? How did the landlords and the peasant react when the news about synthetic indigo developed by Germany reached them? When the news about synthetic indigo reached the landlords, they thought that the plantation of indigo was no longer profitable to them. The landlords obtained agreement from the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for being released from the 15% arrangement. Many peasants signed willingly. कुछ ने तो willingly sign कर दिए. Those who resisted engaged lawyer for them, and not only that but also hired thugs. And when the illiterate peasant who had signed the agreement come to know about the synthetic indigo, they wanted their money back. How did Mahatma Gandhi react to the commissioner's advice to leave Tirhut? Gandhiji did not leave Tirhut. Instead, he proceeded to Motihari with many lawyers. He was greeted by a big crowd at the nearby railway stations. He stayed at a house, making it as headquarters, and continued his investigation. When he got the news that a peasant of the nearby village had been maltreated, he decided to go further. But when he started on an elephant, right, he had not gone far when he was stopped by a messenger of the police commissioner and brought back to Champaran in his carriage. Here he was served with an official notice to quit Champaran immediately. Okay. But question arises that why did Gandhiji disobey the order to leave Champaran immediately, and what reason were given by Mahatma Gandhiji for disobeying the order to leave Champaran here? Gandhiji pleaded guilty for disobeying the order to quit Champaran. He said that he was involved in a conflict of duty. On the one hand, he did not want to set a bad example as a lawbreaker. On the other hand, he wanted to render the humanitarian national service for which he had come there. He disregarded the order to leave. It was not for want or lack of respect for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of the voice of his conscience. How did Gandhiji give concrete proof that the Britishers could be challenged by Indians? When the peasants of Motihari gathered in thousands around the courthouse, the official felt powerless without Gandhiji's coordination and cooperation to control and to regulate the crowd. He helped them to regulate the crowd in a friendly and polite manner. In this way, he gave them concrete proof that their dreaded and unquestioned might could be challenged by Indian. The government was baffled. It is a very important question like what prompted the lawyers from Bihar to decide to follow Gandhiji into the prisons. The lawyers wanted to go home in case अगर गांधीजी को जेल हो जाती तो वो उनको तो घर ही जाना था, घर जाना चाहते थे. At this, Gandhiji asked them about the injustice being done to the sharecroppers. They had no answer to it and withdrew to consult. थोड़ा मंत्रणा करते हैं वो. They thought that Gandhi was totally a stranger and he's almost an outsider to this area. Still, he is ready to go to jail for the sake of these peasants. Right? They were not only the resident of the adjoining district but also those who claimed to have served them. It would thus be very shameful on their part to leave the sharecroppers in that condition. And so they got ready to follow Gandhiji into the prison. How was the official commission of inquiry to study the indigo sharecropper situation appointed? Gandhiji and the lawyer conducted an inquiry into the grievances of the farmers. Depositions were made by about 10,000 peasants. Other evidences came. Notes were made on these. Documents were collected. There were vehement protests by the landlord. Gandhiji was summoned by the Lieutenant Governor, Sir Edward Gate. He had 4 long interviews with the Lieutenant Governor. As a result, the governor appointed an official commission of inquiry into the grievances of the indigo sharecroppers. The commission consisted of landlords, government official and Gandhiji as the sole representative of the peasant. Why did the big planters agree to make refund of the money they had illegally and deceitfully extorted from the sharecroppers? See, the finding of the official commission of inquiry went against the big landlords, and there was a big mountain, a crushing mountain of evidence against the big planter and those landlords. They felt that there was no other alternative but to refund, so they agreed in principle to make refund. Why did Gandhiji agree to the offer of 25% refund by the planters? The first of all, Gandhiji wanted to break the deadlock of the percentage of refund. By agreeing to the offer of 25%, the deadlock was broken. Secondly, the amount of refund was not very important for him. Right? The important thing for him was that the landlord had been obliged to surrender part of the money, also part of indigo, which they consider their prestige. The planters used to behave as lord ever of the law. Now they had learnt that the peasant had their rights and their defenders as well. How was the Champaran episode a turning point in Gandhiji's life? The Champaran episode proved to be a turning point in Gandhi's life as he realized his own power and made the villages realize their power. In everything Gandhiji did, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his feet and thus make India free. It was during this period that he decided to urge the departure of the Britishers. How was the lesson of self-reliance taught? See, answer of this question is very interesting here. The Charles Freer Andrew was an English pessimist and a devoted follower of Gandhi. He was going to Fiji Islands on a tour of duty. He came to Gandhi to meet him, before going. So Gandhi's loyal friend wanted Andrews to stay in Champaran to help him. Even Andrew also was ready to help. But Gandhiji opposed it. He did not want Indians to take the help of an Englishman in their struggle. It would show their weakness. He told them to rely upon themselves as the case was just, and in this way Gandhiji taught them a lesson in self-reliance.